welcome to today's episode of Expert Diaries. So, to those of us who are not aware of Expert Diaries, I'll just give a bit of introduction about it. So, Expert Diaries is a series of interviews from Zoho Campaigns where we go and connect with industry experts spread across the globe. So, and then we share these information with our users, and it's all about sharing tips, tricks, and everything and anything about email marketing. And in fact, today is the 25th episode of Expert Diaries, and we are so glad to have Brian Minnick with us on today's episode. So, hi, Brian. We are really, really glad to have you here today. How are you doing?
Hi, thank you. I'm doing very well and very excited to talk to everybody today.
Oh, same here. So, yeah, so before we get into the session, I would like to introduce our guest today. So, Brian is the Chief Operating Officer of Zero Bounds, and he has about 10 years of experience in operating and system administration. He works with support team, sales team, and also customer success team to transfer complex issues into a simplified solution. And talking about Zero Bounds is a online email validation platform where and also a delivery platform where email marketers and the companies can go and verify their email list and also make use of delivery tools to optimize their campaigns. One of the most important goal of Zero Bounds is to actually help their client to maximize their inbox placements for their emails. So that was all about Brian and Zero Bounds.
Yes, yeah. Perfect. What we like to do is help people get into the inbox. That is our goal, help improve deliverability.
Yeah, that's great, actually. So yeah, so moving on to the next part, we would like to introduce ourselves. So I'm Vinaya, product marketer for Zoho Campaigns. And we also have Swatika here, who is also a marketer for Zoho Campaigns. So hi, Swatika.
Yeah, hi, Vinaya. Hi, Brian. Glad to meet you today. Looking forward to the session. Yeah, you can carry it forward, Vinaya.
Sure. I think now we can just head on to the session. So the thing we are going to discuss today is all about the best practices for list management. So Brian will be sharing his insights about it. So on that note, my first question to you is, we know that email marketing is one of the most high performing marketing channels. So and the average return on investment on email marketing is $42 for every dollar spent. So to achieve this, there's a lot of process that goes behind to achieve this success or even to exceed this success. And one of the important key factor that helps in achieving this success is list hygiene. So can you share how important is list hygiene here and how important email validation plays a role here?
Yeah, absolutely. So list hygiene and the management of your contacts in your database or your CRM system or ESP, it's very important. We are constantly finding that around 20 to 30% of business emails are churning or falling over or becoming invalid every year. The pandemic has actually caused an increase in churn of emails due to job shifting, people going to new markets, people changing the roles, companies shutting down, even the other way, companies popping up. And so, it has really caused a churn in the email space. And so it's very important that you verify that the address that you have is still a good address. And one of the ways to do that is through Zero Bounds, where we will go and check and actually ping the mailbox to see if it does exist. And if it doesn't, it should be removed from your list. Sending to email addresses that do not exist cause lots of issues with bounce backs, reputation problems, and things of that nature. And it can be very difficult to get out of it. So you want to make sure you start with a good, clean list. It's very important.
Yeah, thank you so much, Brian, for those insights. So it was really helpful that how things around the pandemic, like job shifting and all, has made it very challenging, and it's going to be very useful for our listeners to make use of this tip. So moving forward, every other day we get new leads for a business, right? So we get newsletter signups, we get web page visits, we get registrants for events and webinars, and we get people who add items to their cart. So all of these are new leads to a business. So what would be your advice to brands on utilizing these micro conversions for bigger and better results?
Yeah, so what I think we should get is also try to get as much detail as you can on that customer. As an example, cart additions, you might want to see what types of products they're adding and categorize those people. So maybe it's clothing. They're very into the clothing. You might want to categorize that. Take pieces of behavior and turn that into an actionable plan. So behavior can be segmented. It could be, again, every business will be a little different, but if we think about an e-commerce site of clothing or just retail, maybe they sell shoes, hats. If all this person ever likes is black clothing, that's very popular, like a certain color, you might be able to segment a campaign of just black clothing, and now this person will be very engaged on the content that you would send through email. So taking behavior and turning that into your email campaigns and segmenting, I think, can be very valuable for anybody that's doing email and has a large customer base, can take advantage of it.
That's actually nice insight about how such micro conversions can be utilized. I think one of the impact of such micro conversions, such as sign up pages and all that, is to build an organic email list, right? So talking about organic email list, one of the main advices every email marketer they get is to not purchase an email list, ready-made email list, right? But still, we see that many marketers tend to go and send out campaigns to such purchase list. So I would like to have you say a few words about how such purchase email list has a great impact, heavy impact on their brand's credibility.
Sure. So the simple answer is don't do it. Don't ever do it. If you think about doing it, it's normal. You're a human. It's okay. But don't actually purchase the list and send to it. The reason being is that it is very common knowledge for the ESPs, the mail filters, the spam filters. They see the patterns, they know the lists, and they will start to put you on blacklists and tarnish your reputation. And one of the things that we try to help, and it's a hard thing for a lot of people to understand, but sometimes less is more. And so, a smaller list of opted in organic newsletter signups, any of these kind of natural conversions or collection processes will always yield you better results than a purchased list. Purchased lists have been purchased by many people, the same list over and over. There is no guarantee of even how good that list is. Unfortunately, a lot of people come to Zero Bounce to try to clean that list as well. So we see a lot of it. And yes, will we remove the bad inboxes from them? Yes, but that does not mean that there's not the other behavior that will impact you. So these people are always getting spammed. They will mark you as spam. They will report you as spam. And it just turns into such a problem. So if you have less contacts and you're trying to figure out how to get more, the focus should be on how do you get those organically and how do you get those in a natural way. You will get much better results and much more effective campaigns when these people want your content versus you forcing the content. So I will say it's not easy, it's not quick, but it is worth it. And so if you are a new business or you're a business that's not collecting email, you need to be collecting it. Use a double opt-in process that really confirms that they want your content, and you will see the amount of market spams and complainers will go very, very low, probably zero, if they're people that want your content. And so it's much easier to send to people who want your content than to get out of all the problems that are caused by sending to purchase lists. Blacklisting and spam filter problems are just the start, and it's very hard to get off once you're on those problems.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much, Brian. Of course, as you said, organic lists are what are going to help us do a good job in the longer run, and that's what email marketing platforms and email validation tools like Zero Bounce have been advising marketers out there every other day, right? So moving on to the next question. Every business will have diverse set of audience, and as marketers we should cater to their unique tastes and preferences, right? So of course we will segment the email list before we send out the email campaigns. Now, Brian, what would be your advice on segmentation strategy, and how will this help businesses in sending out personalized email campaigns?
Yeah, this is a really good question and very good topic. You want to send targeted emails. That will always be more successful than just a blank, very wide and a very broad answer would be not as good and impactful as a focused email towards your customer base. So some of the things that we do and Zero Bounce can even help with is segment by gender. If it's male and female, this would be just going back to the example of a retailer who maybe sells t-shirts. You want to send the men t-shirts, and you want to send women, the women t-shirts that are focused for them. The chance of them clicking, purchasing, engaging will be much higher. There's also other things that you can do. Zero Bounce is offering activity data. So this is information based on known clickers, openers, and forwarders. And so what this does is we will be able to tell you if some of your list is very active and is a heavy engager with email. If you segment and send to that list by itself a campaign to those people, your click-through rates, your open rates will be much, much higher, and it will give you some positive traction on email campaigns. So that's another thing that I would recommend. Location would be a very, very important one that I would recommend. If you think about people living in the extreme cold or maybe the extreme heat, sending emails of winter jackets to people like me in Florida, where it is very hot, we don't even know what a jacket is, it's not going to be as successful. And so you can take the same list, segment it by location, and change the content so that it's more targeted for the audience, and that will definitely help you improve some of the engagement and the metrics. It's a little more work. Everything I say will be a little more work, but the focus should not be on the work. The focus should be on the results.
That's actually a great insight. The little more work actually gives out a great result, especially in optimizes the email list, and in turn that optimizes everything all around. That was a very useful tip here. So talking about email list again, what is your view on social proofs? Like how social proofs can help in building email list?
Yeah, so social proof is really important. We use it, and examples of that would be we will take maybe a customer review, a testimonial, something of that nature that we got maybe even in our chat, right? Maybe it came into our chat system and they were very happy. We will take that and then post it out on Facebook or LinkedIn. And what you're doing is you're building the credibility, and you're also showing that you are, available, and you have a larger reach than maybe just email. So all of these things should always play together. And the easy way to think about that is almost every email campaign has the social media links on the bottom or the top somewhere. And so you want to exchange that content back and forth. It's still good content. There could be different viewers, and the sharing capabilities can be much different. So for email, it's forwarding, but for social media, it could be sending it in a text message to a friend. It could be tagging a friend, tagging their boss. Depends upon what it might be, but you want to use social media to your advantage and tie the things together. So, encourage your users that are signed up for your newsletter, encourage them to sign up on social as well, and to, follow your pages, because their interaction with the content on social can, again, widen the reach of your messaging. And so it's just very important. And again, a lot of work, and you continue to, push people to help your brand, but it will pay off in the long run. Social has a lot of reach.
Yeah, true, Brian, because even us, we as customers or we as leads to any other business, we will trust it more if we hear from our peers. So that's very true. Yeah, so now let's move on to another interesting concept of email marketing, that is A/B testing. So A/B testing or split testing, it involves multiple factors like testing out based on sender details, subject line, and email content. And this has been advised as one of the best practices to get better results out of our email marketing efforts. However, a lot of most of the email marketers tend to skip this step. They tend to send out their email campaigns based on assumptions from their previous experience or results. So, do you think skipping this skipping the testing part, would impact the results of their email campaign? If yes, could you share your insight, or could you share your advice on following A/B testing for email marketing campaigns, and what are the tips to keep in mind while testing campaigns?
Yeah, so A/B testing is very important. We do not skip it. What we do is so the way that I like to think about it, and we talk about it, in our company, is also when you think you're good, there's always room for improvement. I don't care what you do or the profession you're in, there's always room for improvement. And I'm an optimist in that way. And so when you do A/B testing, what you're doing is you're allowing data to drive the performance versus your feeling. And so your feeling as an email marketer, when you're writing the content, getting the graphic, is much different than the viewer. And so if you don't A/B test, what you're potentially sacrificing is larger reach and better performance. So subject lines is obviously one of them. Subject lines will help you test the open rates, right? But it won't always necessarily help you test the conversion rate. So, you want to pay attention to it and test. We always make little changes. If you make drastic changes, it's very hard to understand what happened or why. Examples of this might be the same subject line, but instead of anything in capitalization, we add an emoji at the end, or remove the exclamation point, or change it to a question mark. So, can we chat, or whatever it might be, but let the data, and most of these systems are very impressive with the technology, where they will actually get a limited subset of data on your A/B testing, and then choose the path for you based on the results of the A/B test. And so it's very important. It should not be skipped, but you should use the performance from the last campaign to draft the new A/B test for the future ones. And so look at it as constant improvement, and hopefully you get to a point where you don't need it, but I haven't seen that yet. I hope we can get there one day, but it's always good to have the testing so that the data is driving.
True, that's very well said, Brian. Actually, one of the important takeaways we can have from this tip is that assumption will never help us decide between A and B. And like Brian said, A/B testing is the only and the best and the safest solution, because it gives out a data-driven result. So yeah, 1+ for the A/B testing always then. So now let's move on to the send time part of the email marketing. So when we talk about send time, we know that the best send time, the send time plays a key role in improving our open rates and click rates. So on that note, can you share how important it is to analyze and set up a send time strategy for an email marketer?
Yes. So the day and time that you send email can play a massive impact on how the campaign performs. Now, each business might have a different flavor of when they might need to send on the day and the time. And I'll try to give you some examples. In the generic world, if you have a business that is just, very vanilla, they say Tuesday at 10 a.m. is the best day, or Thursday, right? Okay, but everybody is sending then, right? Because if you Google when is the best time to send email, they're all going to tell you Tuesday. So now you are fighting, everybody is fighting Tuesday for the placement of email, right? So we know this. Here's where it's different based on your business. Zero Bounce, we send on Thursdays. The reason we do that is because we don't want to compete on Tuesday. There's so much competition, right? And we don't sell e-commerce. We sell, a service. And so, for us, it's just what we chose to do. Now, special announcements, we send those on Tuesdays. However, if I'm a business and I sell, let's say I sell coffee, and that's what I sell. I sell delivery coffee to your front door, and I have a local list. I would send my email out Monday morning at 8 a.m. because no one's having a worse day and a worse time and needs the coffee in their lap than Monday morning, right? I mean, I think we've all been there. Friday night would be a terrible time. Maybe not Friday, Wednesday night would be a terrible time to, promote a coffee and delivery to your doorstep. So you have to use also, some thought around your product and your business. What is it? When was the best time to receive that email, and try to make some decisions with it. But you want to be consistent. That is another part that's very important. The mail servers and the spam filters, they are, they find patterns about you and they become comfortable with you. And so if they're always expecting, hey, it's your Monday morning coffee email, and you open it and 3 times out of 10 you've bought, that email is going to inbox. The mail servers and the spam filters are like, no, this is good. They need their coffee on Monday. Give them the email. So, it's very important to just be aware of your business and your audience. That's another big piece. If your audience is maybe scattered throughout the world, that might be another example. You might want to segment and send at different times to different lists. So that would be my best advice on this, to break it down, put thought into it, and be consistent and try things, A/B test, and get results, and always work towards the results.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. I totally loved your example, the coffee example. So, as you said, it's totally based on the business that you do, and it's not based on the internet results that you get on searching. Yeah, completely true. So, as a beginner, what would be the best send time frequency, and over time, how can a beginner increase their send time frequency?
Yeah, so what I recommend is to start is once a week on a frequency base. Obviously this depends upon your content. You have to have new content. You have to have value in the content. But as far as deliverability, let's say the content is good, the list is good, and now you just want to send, right? You want to be predictable when the email will land in the customer's inbox. And a good example of this might also be if you're expecting packages at your house. To give an analogy that's not related to email, if I'm used to the delivery driver coming to my house at 3 p.m. and my door knocks at 3 p.m., I know it's the delivery driver with my Amazon package. I'm used to it. I'm comfortable. He waves to me, I wave back, right? Now, if that delivery driver shows up at 10 p.m. at night and all my lights are off, I'm laying down watching TV, knock, knock, and it's the same delivery driver, I'm going to be like, who is this? Who's at my door, right? And so you want to be consistent, because then people start to expect it. And once people expect it, it becomes normal behavior, and we don't even think about it. It's thoughtless. So be consistent. If you have good enough content where it makes sense to have a daily email, you can warm up to that. Sometimes examples of this would be daily promotions. Maybe it's a lunch special for a restaurant, or maybe it's an electronics store that sells blowout deals for one day only. You can send that very targeted email to people, but start slow is my recommendation, and warm up. Do not ever go too fast and then try to pull back. It's much harder. And the results you will get, the problems that you will have from sending too much, too fast, they're very painful to get out of. So on Blacklists, the spam filters don't like you. You want to avoid that. So that's where I would start and warm up to a point where you're comfortable and the engagement rate of your emails is still good.
Yeah, that's great insight about it. The part about making the subscribers make them comfortable with particular time is very essential here. Like I will not, as a customer, I will not be expecting a milkman to arrive at the evening. So obviously I'll be expecting him to come early in the morning. So there's no point of him coming in the evening, and he should be coming daily. Otherwise I'll be missing the milk for the day. And yeah, so
Exactly.
yeah, so the subscribers, so just sending out the campaign consistently at the time they are expecting that. That's a good point
Yes.
on it. So let's talking about the consistent send time. I would like to move and shed the light on the contacts or recipients who we have not contacted for a long period of time. So can you say like what will be the best send time pattern for re-engagement campaign?
Yeah, so with re-engagement campaigns, it's very easy to forget or stop sending email. So this is something that Zero Bounce actually helps a lot of customers with. The first thing you want to do if you haven't emailed in a while is to make sure that the recipients are still valid, that the email addresses are still good. Again, you see the amount of churn that's happening on addresses. You want to make sure that every email you send has an actual inbox behind it. So that's step one, clean the list. Make sure that you're removing any invalid recipients that may have not, you maybe didn't unsubscribe or anything as you are continuing to mature. Once you do that, you want to send a piece of email out to them that says like, hey, we miss you. Something that actually has relevance to them, right? So either we miss you or, hey, we've been quiet because we've been working on something so big, right? So something that will excite the person or, give them the reason to open the email, give them a reason to remember you. What another way that we've seen people do it, and it can be successful, it's not perfect, I would test it, go back to A/B testing, is you can send a breakup letter. And so if they have not been engaging with your content or your emails and you've been mailing them, it comes to a point where you should consider removing them. And if it's been a year or 2 years and this person is on your list and they're not opening emails, they're not clicking, ask yourself the question, what are they doing or who are they? And you might want to take those, send them into a separate campaign and just say things like, hey, we don't want to bother you. We don't want to flood your inbox. We hope we're adding value to you. We hope we help you in some sort of way. Can you click here to make sure you still want to receive our emails? That will tell you if people are just reading to consume or reading or not reading at all. And so after a while, I would recommend to actually remove people from your list. Start thinking about it after a year, 6 months. But if it's been 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and these people have never replied, think about it. It shouldn't be about quantity, it should be about quality. And so what you want is an engaging list, and someone who's not opening or clicking is not engaging.
Yeah, true, Brian. So re-engagement is always a good practice, but when people aren't responding in a longer time, then it's our duty to give them the freedom to leave our brand, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So moving on to the home topic, that is Zero Bounce's home topic, that is deliverability and email validation. So the next question is, sender reputation highly influences email deliverability, and sender score also plays a major role in determining the sender reputation. So what are the factors that are to be taken into account while calculating the sender score, and how can an email marketer maintain a good sender score?
So with the sender scores, some of the major contributors to influencing that score, whether up or down, is going to be your bounce rate and your complainer rate. That will be major pieces that will influence the deliverability of your campaign. Obviously, there will be content and image to content ratio. There's little pieces there, But ultimately, if everyone on your email list is hitting report spam, it's very, very bad and very detrimental. So one of the things that Zero Bounce helps with as well is we do know a lot of known complainers. And so we can help you identify who that might be and help them get off your list. I would not recommend emailing people that are known complainers. And we're actually doing you a favor by not letting you send to that person. And at the same time, the recipient, they don't want your email. If they weren't used to, if they didn't double opt in to your email list and you're emailing them over and over and over, you're asking for some issues. So when you think about your sender score, you want to be very conscious to the quality and the engagement. And so as you continue to send email, it's just very important that you do that. Once you're on, if you have a negative impact of all of this, the issues that you're dealing with once you're on a blacklist, as an example, or if Spamhaus decides to put you on their blacklist or their no-no list, is what I like to call it. These are times where you then have to do so much work. It's affected so many other recipients on your list, and it's really going to cause you a lot of issues. So the biggest thing is, again, high quality list, high quality content, targeted content, and sending at frequencies that your customers are waiting for and expecting. Do not try to just flood content to people. You're going to get hit with the blacklists, and we have lots of customers, even on the Zoho side, that come to us and say, "Oh my gosh, we sent too many emails too fast. What do we do?" So, you have to start reversing everything you're doing, or sometimes even start from scratch. And if you've ever had to deal with that in email marketing, you know how painful that is. So you want to stay away from those things and just follow best practices.
Yeah, so thank you, Brian. Now, moving on to the last part of the session, I'd like to talk about your no-no list, that is the blacklist. So one of the biggest nightmares for email marketers is to see their carefully crafted email campaigns getting blacklisted, right? So I would like to have some insights from you about the concept of blacklisting and how can email marketers prevent their emails from getting blacklisted.
So with this, the biggest problem with this is actually that usually the email marketer does not even know they're on a blacklist. That is step one. Yeah. Are you even on a blacklist? So most people have no clue. They're just used to a 1% open ratio, and they think that's normal, or I got to A/B test more. No, what's happening is you're being blocked. And so Zero Bounce offers a few tools that I think would be very helpful to anybody that is either concerned, or if you're not concerned, you should be monitoring. We offer blacklist monitoring that can be done on your domain or your IP address if you have your own mail server or dedicated mail server. You want to make sure that your domain's not on a blacklist or the no-no list. And once you are, you want to make sure that you take action on that very quickly. So an example is you could get thrown onto a blacklist for Spamhaus. And if you know this, maybe hopefully you're signed up with Zero Bounce so that you would know that, hey, Spamhaus put me on the blacklist. We would notify you via email and tell you you've been blacklisted. At that point, you can attempt to pull yourself off the blacklist. Request a delisting is kind of the terminology. And so many of the spam providers provide that option. But again, if you don't know you're even on the blacklist, because there's hundreds of them, some public, some private, you can't do anything if you don't know you're there. So you want to make sure that you are monitoring to see if you are on a blacklist. That's step one. If you are, then you want to get off. You want to use good tools when you're collecting the email to also make sure you're getting high quality email in on the first place. Examples of this would be spam traps. So we have seen spam traps, for those who maybe don't know, are email boxes that are created specifically to put senders on the blacklist or put spam filters to block the email from that sender. They can be detrimental to your campaigns. They will be detrimental to your campaigns. And what I've also seen, and it's terrible, but I've seen it. I've seen competitive companies submitting spam traps into the newsletters. So how do you avoid that? Well, you should have the double opt-in process, because they should confirm that email. They can't confirm a spam trap. It's not possible. And also, you have all these bot emails and all these kind of garbage emails that are being flooded into these forms. You want to make sure you get those out of your list and make sure that you're not sending to them. So those are just a couple of pieces that would be very helpful to make sure that you don't get on to any blacklists. And also with the bounce rates, you want to make sure you're under 2%. It's very important. If you have been over 2%, I've had lots of customers, hey, I have a 30% bounce rate, 40% bounce rate, and then the next time it's 2% or 1%. The damage is already done. You can't forget that. The 40% you sent the first time has caused effects to happen. And so, if you think that it's not happening to you, I would really encourage you to reconsider and check. We also do an inbox placement test. That's something that Zero Bounce offers. So we have a bunch of seed accounts on different major providers, and we will tell you if that email that you sent inboxed or went to the spam folder, or it wasn't delivered at all. So it's another good thing is kind of testing and monitoring to see the position and the placement that you have. Knowing that can really help. So if I was about to send my campaign of the year, my Black Friday, or my Christmas special, whatever it might be, but half of my emails are going to the spam folder and Zero Bounce has told you that, you need to wait and fix that problem first. And then once it's into the inbox, then send your massive campaign. It can really be a huge difference in the results.
Yeah. Actually, Brian, this was really insightful, so amazing, and all the examples that you gave were really practical, and people could, in fact, relate to them. Thank you so much for all the insights you were able to share with us today. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thank you, Brian. It was
Thank
actually
you.
very useful.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah. The examples like Swatika mentioned will be very useful for the beginners. Actually.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So, Brian,
it's important that the beginners do it.
Yeah, true. The examples were really helpful. I mean, we always make sure that in all of our deliverables, we give an example for people to relate. So in each of the questions, you put an example. So that is definitely helpful. Thank you so much.
Thank
Brian.
you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Have a good
Okay.
Bye.